That's it, guys. I'm done. I'm done with this MG ZST. I'm seriously done. And today I'll tell you why. Why have I reached this harsh decision eventually, my friends? This is going to be on-point criticism of MG once again, of the poor quality and whatever else this car is doing to us. So if you are an MG lover, distributor, dealer, or just someone who doesn't like ranting and high emotional stakes kind of things involved in the conversation, this video is probably not for you. But for everyone else who is here, gathered here for honest, point-blank discussion of what this car is good and bad for, yeah, and why am I reaching this critical moment of selling it, then yes, stick around, please, and humor me, yeah? Get yourself a coffee. You will need one, maybe some sedatives as well. Before we proceed, I would like to thank our sponsors, DDPAI. DDPAI have been our friends for a very long time, and I've been reviewing a lot of their high-quality dash cameras on Auto Gear Reviews. In case you have been living under a rock or just passing by, Auto Gear Reviews is a spin-off channel of Value Cars Australia, where I have started reviewing a lot of gadgets, car gadgets, and other kind of things, such as dash cameras, yeah, and wireless Carplay adapters, other kind of stuff, because the audience is slightly different who want reviews of these things than you, my friends, who are after car updates and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in the car electronics, discounts, codes, other kind of stuff, go to Auto Gear Reviews, and especially watch the recent video about this N5 Pro dash camera that DDPAI have sent us very kindly. These cameras are of amazing quality. I've been using them for a long time. We have two cars, obviously, so one of the cars is with the DDPAI camera. And the good thing is that they pack a lot into these. You get two channels. You get the view forward and you get a view backwards, typically, unless it's a 3-channel camera. There are those as well. And they have extra modules such as the hard wiring kit, such as the cloud box, which connects you to the cloud and can upload footage automatically to the cloud so that it doesn't get lost or anything else, as well as things like radar modules even. Whether or not it's legal or not legal to use in your area, wherever that is up to you to find out. That is not on me. But I can just tell you that DDPAI gives you a lot. So I'm very, very grateful to DDPAI for sponsoring this video and sending me this obviously camera for free, but they never pay me to say only good stuff. Let's just leave it out there. Let me tell you literally what happened and what tipped the cup for me, so to speak. And no, it wasn't the still remaining the check engine light or any of the poor service that we have received in the past from the aftermarket, after-sales support from MG. It has nothing to do with that at that stage. Of course, those experiences eroded my patience, and of course, I felt like I was on the edge already. I'm not denying that fact, but here I have a factual reason why this happened. All right, here is the full walkthrough. I have driven to the petrol station, yeah, as you do, to fill up the tank. I have unscrewed the cap of the petrol tank. I have put the petrol in. As always, I sometimes put in 95. Usually I go with 91, in Australia at the very least. Unleaded fuel, obviously. So I have put the petrol in, screwed the cap on. I'm not an idiot. I do things properly. Please don't jump ahead with conclusions, right? Then I try to start the engine as I normally do. Foot on the pedal, on the brake, press the button, start button. It kind of, the starter starts churning, so and it starts. It starts initially, the engine starts, but it kind of coughs. It's like, Dimitri, I've been serving you for too long. What do you expect from me, mate? That style. So it starts doing that, then it stalls. It stalls. And I am obviously kind of, when the engine is kind of struggling, your natural instinct is to start accelerating. It's to start kind of like revving up, like, oh, mate, wake up, like, like you try to do that, right? Try to do that, of course, try to give it a bit of gas. It coughs and it runs for like maybe 20 seconds, I'm gonna say, and then it stalls. Lights on, no one home, engine is out, electricity is on, so the dash is all lit. That happened twice. that happened twice. First time it happened is literally how I described it to you, like right now. But then after, then me trying to restart, you know, pressing trying to accelerate, trying to rev up the engine and trying to accelerate it. It sort of worked and it kind of just kicked into life. That happened once, maybe, or twice, was it? Now I forgot. Yeah, it's all over the last week. And then the last night, basically, when the same situation happened and I went there to fill up the tank, filled up the tank, it stalls, it won't come back on. Yeah, sorry for a long intro, but it's emotional for me and I'm trying to not misrepresent any facts. Won't come back on. Okay, well, I turn on the emergency lights. I call MG emergency, again, roadside assist thing. Once again, they tell us that they don't have in the system a record that we have been servicing with MG, and that's why they don't know if roadside assist, free roadside assist applies to us or not. So that, I'm not even going to make a big deal out of it, because that is that old trouble with Hunter Motive Group where we have serviced always. And it was not clear to us whether or not they are an official MG service center or they are not an official MG service center, because they have certainly plenty of MGs there servicing, so could have fooled me or you for that matter. Anyway, so we have been servicing there diligently, but turns out, long story short, I'm going to save you the time and say that a few days later we have received a call from, I imagine, MG people or someone. And a very nice lady said to me, sorry, we have checked your records, and yes, you have serviced in Hunter Motive Group, but they are not an official MG service center anymore. Hence, your roadside assist cover is no longer applicable. Warranty is applicable because we're servicing on time, but the roadside assist is not applicable. Okay, it's unpleasant, but that's not the reason to sell the car. The reason is that now, after refueling, this stupid stuff is happening, okay? And I'm stranded there. And by the way, the ugliness of the situation was that it was after work, it was dark, I was there walking around the car, I was there for an hour waiting for MG roadside assist to arrive, because when I called them, they took the call and they were like, oh yeah, okay, well, we're trying to check here whether or not you're covered, but that's okay, we will dispatch someone to help you right now. Because shouldn't it be your priority to help me anyway? And then if you have to charge me for it because I wasn't covered for free, that's fine. But overall, this whole kerfuffle of, oh, are you covered, are you not covered, are you covered? First of all, you should be able to tell me. When I call you for support, you should be able to tell me straight up, yep, see your record, see your radio, according to that radio, you're covered or you're not covered. So please stop dilly-dallying with me. That is a big part of the decision to get rid of the brand entirely for me, in our family. And obviously the main reason is this unreliability of the engine. Who bloody knows why it's doing it now? Who bloody knows? I don't even freaking understand what is happening. Do you want to know how I solved it? Because MG roadside assist never showed up. They never showed up. They dispatched someone, but they never showed up, mate. They never showed up. So that is a final freaking straw, mate. That's a final freaking straw, and would have been for you as well, by the way. So I walk out after like an hour and no one coming to rescue me. I'm coming out there, unscrewing the cap again of the petrol tank. Yeah. Maybe it let the air out. Maybe it did something else. Who knows exactly? I'm running ahead of myself in conclusions. Who knows? I welcome your thoughts in the comments below, by the way, in case it's not obvious. Just don't be a troll. And don't ever talk to me about politics. Otherwise, you're banned immediately. Like, I don't care. So I unscrew the cap. I screw it on again tightly, screw it back on, and the engine starts. No problem. I'm waiting for you to tell me that I'm an idiot. In the comments, just be gentle, okay? Because one thing is you telling me I'm an idiot and kind of us having a nice hearty laugh about it. And another thing is you trying to take it further than you need to. I don't think I'm an idiot. I think this guy is an idiot. And I think I don't like how the brand treats, again, I don't like the quality. I don't like that it stalls the engine. I don't like that it started happening out of the blue. It's not like before you continue bashing me or thinking, oh, what an idiot. It's not like it's the first time we ever put petrol into this car, is it, mate? The car is almost at 50,000 kilometers. We've been driving it for the whole time. Never happened. Never happened, mate. Happens now. So, like, how do you explain it? I can't explain it, and I don't think any normal person in their sane mind can explain it, okay? So some crap is going on there with this engine. I'm done with it. Now the big question is, if I don't want to invest too much money on top of whatever this crap is worth now to sell it, right? Like say I sell it for like 15 grand or something, it's probably worth a bit more. But if I sell it for 15 grand, how much more do I want to put towards it? Like another 5? What can I get for 20? What can I get for 20? These are the questions that I'm asking myself. But if I can get a solid car within roughly that price range, and that possibly is a topic for another video in case you want to continue following this journey. You've already been this long along. You might as well keep watching now how this ends. Basically, it's a question of what can I get for roughly the same money if I sell this for X amount of dollars, okay? And that's possibly considering my options and telling you what options I see for selling these for X amount, adding X amount, and buying car Y, you know? That possibly is a topic for at least one of the next couple of videos, potentially, because that's something that's front and center on my mind. And that's it, my friends. That's why. So I'm done with this. I'm done with all this self-torture, self-inflicted torture. I don't think I deserve it. I don't think you deserve it. I don't think the poor people who will buy this from me deserve it either. But everyone has their own financial situation, and they will think they're getting a mid-size SUV that simply needs to be serviced differently, treated differently. Maybe they have a much brighter attitude to life and a much bigger, again, patience buffer than I do. That's fine. That's fine. This car is for someone, okay? But at the same time, I've decided it's not for me. It's not for my wife. That's it. Done. Done. Thank you very much for listening to this rant. Hopefully you have enjoyed it for what it's worth. Maybe you have thoughts on this, suggestions, questions, whatever else. Everything is welcome in the comments down below, as long as you're not a troll or a politically charged kind of person, because those people are not welcome, have not been welcome, will not be welcome in any closest future. This is a private club, not a public tribune, just a friendly reminder. Thanks for being with me. Please don't forget to visit our sponsors, because it's not just a favor to me, because I appreciate it, but it's not just a favor to me, but it's an opportunity for you to get a discounted, temporarily discounted potentially, very, very cool product. Goodbye for now. Talk to you next week about something else, crappy MG or something else related. Goodbye for now.